Hmm. So this was still a gripping murder mystery, but not as good as the first season. Hi guys, this is Farhad and welcome back to my channel Popcorn Reviews. If you're new to this channel, then please smash that subscribe button now. And as a video ritual, remember to like and comment on the video. Liking and commenting helps fuel the YouTube algorithm. And today, the series that we are going to be talking about is the much awaited Tamil series called SUZHAL the Vortex, the season 2 of that, in fact, after a spectacular season 1. Now, ask any fan of the show SUZHAL the Vortex, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, SUZHAL the Vortex, on what appealed to them from the first season, and the instant reaction for them would be the cultural identity of the show that almost was veined in the plot. It was almost infused in the plot, so much so that there was a little dilemma in the first season on whether there's a supernatural element in the fray, or whether it's somebody who's actually guilty and who's committing the crimes that have been committed. There was a right mix of cultural identity on the show that made the first season spectacular. I think it was iconic in the purest sense possible. But the issue with the second season is that the cultural references, while they are there, they do not necessarily infuse itself in the plot of the show that is there. It's almost similar or drawn parallels with the characters of the show, but not necessarily of the plot points that are on the show. But that, however, doesn't discount the fact that this still remains a gripping murder mystery. So, coming to the story and screenplay, the second season of SUZHAL the Vortex, it picks up from the exact same spot where the first season had ended, and you are witness to Nandini, who's undergoing a trial, and the person who's fighting a case is played by actor Lal Chelappa. He's shown to be a very idealist kind of a person. He is known to resolve issues even amongst his villagers. And it comes out as a very noble sort of a person. Now, the twist in the tale does take place when, after Nandini is sent to a prison, you see Chelappa dead one day. And thus, the investigation begins on whether this is a suicide or a murder, and if it's a murder, then who committed it, or what events actually transpired in the room, because it was a closed room murder. And I think that is the basic premise of the second season. Now, one thing that I instantly liked about the second season is that there was definitely a grip on the proceedings as far as the investigation is also concerned. It didn't feel very flat to me. Yes, you can also look at it from the other perspective, saying that, oh, it did not have too many cultural identities in the plot. I'm saying in the plot. That is definitely true. I buy that argument that the cultural specific rituals or anything that is showcased did not integrate in the plot as much as it did with the characters here. Here, the backdrop is of the Ashtakali festival that is taking place, and so the entire story here, it unfolds against the background of the Ashtakali festival. Amidst this, there are a couple of characters, or not couple of characters, but couple of character traits that are necessarily showcased as a cultural identity. In a scene, you see a character talking about washing away his sins, which includes anger, negativity, or all sorts of lies, all of that, any sort of negativity, to wash it down at the end, and that character, interestingly, then becomes a suspect at some point on the show. There's another plot point here in which, at a crucial point on the show, you see that there are as many as 8 characters that are introduced in a single go, and it's it's playing against the background of the Ashtakali festival. Ashtakali is necessarily stands for 8 goddesses. In this case, it is goddess Kali. So 8 goddesses, the forms that are there, they come and admit to murder, and there is a demonic presence that represents the eventual culprit, you can say, who's hiding. All of that, I like the parallels that were drawn there. And it added flavor to the proceedings. That said, some of the subplots were just there and then forgotten, like the subplot involving a gay character. I think that added to the sensitivity of the drama, definitely, but it did not necessarily contribute to the fabric of the storytelling. It didn't have a payback at the end. There was nothing that circled back to that plot point saying, oh, this was a reference. It was just as a filler that it was used, and I think that kind of just diluted and just added minutes to the drama. It did not contribute to the screenplay in the purest sense. While the investigation is interesting and you are introduced to the characters, some of the interesting plot points also include, with the introduction of some of the other characters who flip the narrative, with respect to the character who's dead. And so you also, there's a dilemma that is created on whether he is actually a good guy or not a good guy. And I think that is kind of a trippy narrative that is formed. But the exposition that was there, which led to an extended flashback, I think that was just lazy writing. I'm sorry, Gayatri and Pushkar, they are fabulous screenplay writers. You've seen them in Vikram Veda, you've seen them in also the first season of SUZHAL the Vortex. Here I did feel that the unravel that was there, it wasn't typically an unravel at the end of the day. It almost was spoon fed and almost laid out on a platter that, oh, this is how the proceedings had worked, and how the flashback of what exactly may have transpired was put to the fore. I think that it did not really sit well with me, because the past and the present could have been connected almost like an unravel of sorts, like the character stumbling upon something that would have triggered the chain of events that would eventually lead to that plot point. At the same time, I did feel that the final reveal that is there, that is pretty good. That's an interesting one, while also having a commentary on a social issue. I would say that is pretty important, generic but pretty important. Here I must also say that it was a difficult transition at the end, with one set of events that are being played against, interjecting it with a mythological reference. I think it was a difficult transition to pull off on screen, and I think that was really well done. The end that was there also, definitely added to all the chaos that was there on the show. So I was quite happy with the show, but I would definitely also like to put it out once again that the second season is, at least a couple of notches below the first season, and I think that says a lot about the writing, how exceptional it was in the first season. Now coming to the technical aspects, the dialogues, the music, and the direction, I felt the dialogues are pretty interesting, given that there were mythological references interfaced in the words or interfaced in the lines that were there, and I think that added to the fabric of storytelling for sure. Even I think the music and the BGM were pretty earthy, and they contributed well with and went well with the cultural aspects of the drama. The cinematography also particularly well showcased the Ashtakali festival. I think it was fabulous I'm a fan of culture, by the way, and the more cultural plot points that I see, I get to learn something more. And for those who have been members of my channel since a long time, know this fact. So I was pretty, happy, reading about it also, about what the Ashtakali festival is. And I think the word is different here in reality. Let me know in the comments. It's not called the Ashtakali festival, it's called something else. But in the series, it is referred to as the Ashtakali festival. And I think that, made for a interesting viewing experience also. The frames that were there were well captured. Even the vortex areas that were inferenced at regular intervals of the screenplay, I think was intelligently done as well. There was thought to that. Editing also definitely manages to impress. You can see that the number of, the pace of the show is quite quicker this time, and I think that's also attributed to the editing that is there. Direction by Brahma and Sarjun, I think they are spectacular directors in their own capacities, and both of them managed to impress by maintaining a firm grip on the drama and delivering a wonderful little thriller, although not as good as the first season, but still it's still good. You cannot discount it as saying that it's bad. It's not bad. It might tend towards being generic, but it's still gripping at the end of the day. I would also like to point out that the direction, filmmaking purely shines also in the finale. The exposition that was there, the interjecting parallels that were drawn, that was difficult to do on celluloid, and the way it was pulled off, I'm pretty impressed by that. And I think that was pretty solid in my opinion as far as the filmmaking is concerned. The performances, I felt the performances are pretty solid as well. All of the 8 girls, Gauri, Shrisha, Monisha, I think some of the other girls as well, they definitely did manage to impress. Abhirami also was there. So those characters definitely managed to impress. I think Lal also did a spectacular job. He was very sincere, very earnest, and really managed to shine here in his performance. Sarvanan also, I think, was fabulous to witness. Some of the other characters also, I will not be revealing everybody, but some of the other characters also did a spectacular job. Aishwarya Rajessh, I think she's a very talented actor. She speaks through her eyes, I think, and her expressions. And I think she was lovely to witness. She was fabulous here. Even Kathir, Kathir did a spectacular job, very dependable with his performance. Although I did feel that his character was a little one-dimensional this time. There wasn't an internal conflict that threatened, to almost create a parallel narrative here, like in season 1. I think season 1 did that really well. But here, I think it was a little one-dimensional, his character. Nevertheless, I think Kathir did a spectacular job with his wonderful, wonderful screen presence that was there. So overall, SUZHAL the Vortex season 2 is a gripping murder mystery. Don't mistake it. Yeah, it may have a misplaced core, as I mentioned in my review, Popcorn Reviews with the double S, link of which you'll find it in the description. It may have a misplaced core, but it's still definitely worth your watch. The fans of the first season may be a little disappointed, given that the writing wasn't as spectacular, but that doesn't discredit the fact that the show still remains a gripping murder mystery here. And I think that is also the USP of the show, the drawing of cultural aspects in the limited capacity that it did here. I think it was pretty solid still at the end of the day. So that was my review, guys. Let me know what are your thoughts on the show and what did you make of it. Did you watch it? Did you not watch it? Do you plan to watch it? If you watched it, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Also, if you like this video, remember please to smash that like button. I think any little help of spreading the word helps a small creator like me. You can also share this video with your friends and family. Ask them to subscribe to the channel. Let's grow this Digi family together. Also, you can read my full review, as I said, on my site, Popcorn Reviews with a double S. You can read it in your language, the link of which is in the description box below. Also, follow me on different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd. I do not end up making a video on everything that I watch, but I do write a lot. All information is present on my site and on my social media handles. So leave a follow there as well. I'll see you again soon with another video. Till then, take care of yourselves and thank you so much for your love and support. Cheers.